Hey guys, welcome. So today I'm actually going to be showing you guys how I make my scented putty and my scented wax. So what I have in front of me is the ingredients that I use to make my scented wax. So I use tree resin, paraffin wax, and soy wax. So I do a ratio of 70-30, so 70% wax and then 30% tree resin. I also add fragrance oils to mine, and I really like this brand. They actually have perfume grade, which is awesome, and they smell really good. This is just some of the ones I had, and then you can add mica powder to it if you would like. I don't add it into mine, but if you want to color yours, you can. So I weigh mine out because I'm horrible with math. So it's either 30 grams of the tree resin or it's going to be 1/4 cup. So I did it in cups and tablespoons for you guys that don't have scales. So the tree resin brand, this is what I use. And I will link everything down in the description box below. I get everything I use off Amazon. If I can't find it, I will link something similar to what I've used. So for paraffin wax, it's either 10 grams or equal to 2 tablespoons. And this is the brand that I use. And for soy wax, I use 60 grams or a 1/2 cup. And this is the brand I use for soy wax. So I use paraffin wax combined with my soy wax because it helps harden it a little bit so it's not so soft, because soy wax is a very soft wax. The resin is going to harden your wax, so if you guys play with your ratios and change it up, I would add, probably if you do more of the resin, I would add less of the paraffin, just because it's probably going to make it way too hard. But you guys go ahead and play around to your liking of the ratios. This is just what I prefer. Okay guys, I'm gonna move you over to my curation station and we will get to making this. So you're also going to need something to melt your wax and resin in. You don't have to have a wax melter. I have this on hand because I make wax melts, but you can use a pot in the kitchen on the stove, and I recommend medium heat because you just want to melt it. You do not want to boil it. You're also going to want something to mix it with. So a spoon, a whisk, whatever. You're also going to want paper towels, and a lot of them, because once you're done melting your wax in whatever container you use, you're going to want to wipe it out like immediately because it's really hard to get off. So you're also going to want something to protect your hand, like a heat resistant glove, towel, or even a oven mitt. And also you're going to want some silicone molds to form your waxes in. So I picked these ones up from various stores like Walmart, Hobby Lobby, Joann Fabrics, and Michael's. They all carry these. So I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way and we will get started on melting our wax. So I'm going to go over the ratios one more time. So it's 70% wax and 30% resin. So that's 60% soy wax, 10% paraffin wax, and then 30% resin. And here are the measurements of these again. So that would be 60 grams, which equals to a 1/2 cup of the soy, 10 grams, which also equals to 2 tablespoons of paraffin wax, or 30 grams, which equals to 1/4 cup of the resin. So we're going to go ahead and add our resin first into the wax warmer. I have this set at 200 Fahrenheit. Again, if you're using a pot, medium heat. Melt, not boil. So once this is melted, we'll come back and add the wax to it. Okay, now our resin is melted, so we're gonna go ahead and add the wax to it. Guys, this stuff, or the brand that I have specifically, of the resin melts pretty quickly, so please keep an eye out on it. And then go ahead and add our wax. So that was the soy wax, and here is the paraffin wax. And once this starts melting, then start stirring it. And once this starts melting, I will go ahead and come back. Okay, so when I added the wax to the resin did harden back up a little bit on me, so I did have to turn it up. So I turned it up to 242 Fahrenheit. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of mix this and then let this incorporate into the wax, and then we'll add the next ingredient. So now this is fully melted and it's combined, and the resin is no longer sticking in clumps or stuck to the bottom. So if you're wanting to add color to your wax, this is the time you add it. And you just add as much color as you want. It doesn't take very much, so slowly add it at a time to get the desired color you like. And then after you add your mica powder, if you're going to color it, then add the wax. I have reduced the heat down to 190. You don't want to go any lower than that because then it's going to start hardening back up. And the fragrance oil does lower the temperature of this wax. So I usually add between, I want to say 5 to 10 drops, maybe 3 if you're wanting a really light scent, but this does kind of put off a little bit of a, not resin, pine scent. It's not very strong with the brand that I got. I've had other brands that are very strong and overpower the fragrance. So add as many drops as you like for your scent. I wouldn't go the whole bottle because then it's going to be way too strong. This is the scent I chose to do, which is Sugar Kiss, and it is from this collection, the Love Collection. These are 10 millimeter bottles. So I'm going to go ahead and start with 5 drops and see if I like it. 1, if it drops out, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick stir. I think I'm going to add a couple more. That was 3 more, so 5, 6, 7 drops total. Came out first, so it wasn't coming out, and then it came out fast. I think 1 more drop and we'll call it good. So a total of 8 for my scent. Well, 9 because the second drop went in there. So I think the scent of this is good. So you're going to want to mix this really, really well so that it incorporates into the resin and wax evenly. So I'm going to break out my whisk. Okay, I think that's plenty. So now I'm going to move this to the side. Careful guys, it is hot. And then I'm going to pull over my silicone mold, and I have it on paper towels just in case you spill it. And I'm going to put my heat resistant glove on. And then this is where we pour. So you're gonna want to let this sit in the mold. I think 24 to 48 hours is best. So wax melts, guys. So if you're in a warmer climate, I would suggest keeping this in the fridge or in the freezer before you use it, because the warmer it is, the softer the wax is gonna be, and it's gonna leave more residue on your drills. Oops. Overflow. Overflowed again. So I actually still have some wax left. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of be careful, move this over and pour some into here. Maybe. Yeah, wasn't enough. Okay, so again, guys, you're going to want to wipe out your container instantly. Because if not, it's going to be so hard to get out. For some reason, that resin really likes to stick to whatever you're heating it up in. It doesn't stick to the silicone molds or anything. When it's hardened, it's fine, but like when you first put the resin into here, it likes to really stick to the bottom of the container or even your pot, whatever you're using. All right, guys, so the next step from this is just to let it cool down, let it harden. Like I said, 48 hours probably would be best. Then pop it out of the molds, and if you live in a warmer climate, put it in the fridge or in the freezer. It's still going to be a harder wax, but yes, wax does melt. So if you're in a warmer temperature climate, it might be too soft for diamond painting, or you could change the ratios on what you use, like use more paraffin wax to it, etc., or eliminate the paraffin wax and add more resin. But if you add more resin, it's going to be a lot more sticky, so you're going to have to play around with it. I live in Washington State, so right now it's winter time and it works perfectly for me. I have very minimal residue on my drills when I use this wax. I have not used it in summertime yet, but we do get into the hundreds over here, so I will be popping mine in the freezer when it hits summertime. Anyhow, that is how you make my scented wax, and I will see you guys when I start doing, not see you guys, but I'm going to put this to the side and start videotaping how I make my scented putty. All right. Okay, so the stuff I have in front of me is what I use to make my putty, except for the mica powder. I don't add color to mine, but I figured I'll show you guys if you wanted to add color to yours. So I have Tack, I have essential oils, and I will be using the same scent that I used to make the wax, which is Sugar Kiss. And then you're gonna need a rolling pin, some cornstarch, just regular old cornstarch from the store, some silicone paper, so pretty much I use diamond painting release sheets, and some baggies to store your putty in when you are finished making it. And you guys, you don't have to have these. You can use regular Ziploc baggies. It's no big deal as long as it's sealed. All right, I'm going to move you guys on over to my creation station, and I will show you how I make mine. And I forgot to mention, guys, you guys will be needing scissors too to cut the release paper down, and as well as cut the putty to a perfect square. All right, so I have my cornstarch in the bowl, just the regular cornstarch. Then I have my fragrance oil. I put mica powder right here. I'm not going to use this today, but I will let you know when you add it in. So I'm going to set this to the side, and then I'm going to be using this putty tack to do a demonstration today. All right, so I'm just going to take off. I'm trying to see how much I want to use. I'll go ahead and use the full roll of that, and maybe some of this. That should be enough. So this is, it's sticking. See what I mean? It's super sticky. So this is the amount I'm going to go with. So you kind of just ball it up and blend it together a little bit. You don't want to blend it too much, just kind of like about that. So it's blended to about that. And then that's when I add my fragrance oil in. I usually do, I want to say 2 to 4 drops in it, depending on the amount of scent that you like. I like mine a little bit stronger, so I add a little bit more. So, there's 2 drops right there. You don't add it all at once. And then you kind of just fold it into it. And then pull it apart and mix it. And guys, the oil, the scent is going to get into your hands, on your hands. So if you want to wear gloves, you can. I don't mind. But kind of mix it into it. And I'm actually going to smell this, see if it's okay. I think the 2 drops that I put is okay. It's pretty strong for this amount of putty. So what your next step is going to be after you incorporate it pretty good is to add cornstarch. So just keep on keep on keep on mixing it so that fragrant oil is in there pretty good. It's pretty tacky right now. I'm trying to make sure you guys are in frame. I'm gonna be making double putty today. Okay, once the fragrance oil is mixed in, what I do with the cornstarch is I take it and I just dip it in, just so that it is covered. So what this does, and it's gonna feel like it's not tacky anymore. It'll go back to tack. So the cornstarch, and it's gonna make a mess. Okay, so the cornstarch just kind of helps control the tack. So it makes it a little bit less tacky. I usually dip mine into my cornstarch 3 times, but you want to incorporate the cornstarch completely into your putty before dipping it again. And it takes a little bit. It takes a little bit of working to do. You see how it's sticky again? And then I go ahead and dip it another time. And all you want to do is just cover it, guys. That's it. And you mix it in again. And again, it's not going to feel like it's sticky anymore, but it will go back to its stickiness. And this is why I get the adhesive, or the tack, I should say, that's super sticky, because then I can control the amount of tack that I want for my putty, for my demo painting, which is nice. And it seems like three dips works pretty good. And it is going to get quite sticky at first. And then just mix it a little bit more. Kind of roll it. And dip it one more time. So that's the 3rd time. I made a big mess over here. So after you get the cornstarch incorporated into your tack, you're going to want to add your mica powder then, if you're going to add color. And the amount of mica powder depends on how strong you want your color. If you want it lightly colored, just add a tiny bit of a sprinkle to maybe, I want to say half a teaspoon, maybe like 1/4 of the teaspoon. And it all depends on the size of the putty you have too that you're making. So I got it stuck to my hand. All right, and once that is incorporated, you're going to want to take your release paper. I kind of flatten it down a little bit. I have 1 sheet of release paper just folded in half. And you take the rolling pin and you roll it. So about the thickness that you like. I kind of like to roll it a couple times. Not too flat. You don't want it too flat. You want a little bit of thickness to it. So then you have it like this. And what I do is, oops, I cut it into a square. And then I take another release paper. This is actually half of a release paper of the one of the sheets. I put it onto it. I just fold the release paper in half. And then I stick it into one of my baggies. And you can stick it into the Ziploc baggie. There's no biggie. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys, probably on this one, how I would add mica powder. All right, I'm going to pause for a minute so I could get something to put this out or pull it out. All right, so I kind of have it stretched out, and I'm just going to use a very, very small amount and put it right there in the center. And then we mix it in. If you have a KitchenAid that has like the dough roller on the, I think it's the one that you put on the outside. I don't have a KitchenAid, so I'm not sure. But I think it's MerryMaking Craft. She shows how she incorporates her mica powder into it. I will link her video down below so you can check hers out as well. But that's not, I'm gonna add more mica powder to it. So right now it's just a light peachy color. You can't really tell the difference. So we'll go ahead and add more. I've never added mica powder to my putty, so I have no clue how much it takes, but usually with wax you don't have to use that much. So now I'm learning I need a little bit more for putty. Oops, that's quite a bit. And I'm using this one, the maroon one, but it's more like a copper color. Kind of smush it into it. Now I think it's going to change color, guys. Hopefully. My hand's changing color. Maybe it's just this color not picking up very well. Because it's definitely turning everything out a copper color. And I still like my putty still pretty sticky. So that's why I only dip it 3 times in the cornstarch, but you could do it more if you want to your liking. You don't have to dip it in the cornstarch at all. You can leave it as is and just add the fragrance and the mica powder to it. It's up to you guys. All right, now we got like a really light peachy color. So if you want it darker than this, I'm guessing you're gonna have to add a lot more mica powder. More than I thought. And then you do the same thing. Kind of flatten it out a little bit. And just kind of roll it. And probably about that thickness if my camera focuses. So we got this nice peachy, shimmery putty. All right, guys, now that I made a huge mess, I'm going to clean this up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Again, you're going to want to put this one, you could cut it into a square if you want to, but you're going to want to put this one into a piece of release paper as well to keep it nice and fresh. Oops, making a mess. Bigger mess. All right, guys, I'll see you guys in my next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Bye-bye.